So it is the 30th of April. It is 8:36 Central. That'd be 9:36 Eastern Time. I am coming to you live, just kind of because I did not produce anything at all today. It was a kind of a rough day, to be honest, but we're not going to go deep into that one. But we did not have anything like things you might have heard or any of the hot takes or any videos today, except for the newsletter. So we got the news out for 8 stories from the top 15 for today. But we didn't have anything produced today. And so I was essentially preparing as I do around this time, literally for bed. I get up at 3 in the morning. So I basically knock out about 9 o'clock Central Time at the evening. But we came home late from an activity. While eating dinner and doing notes, preparing for tomorrow, I was watching the news, which I always do. And what's happening essentially right now, we made this clip about 10 minutes ago and have been kind of setting up for some sort of video, is you can call it what I can call it a siege. Right now, we have at this very moment, you can see in video right now, I just have a still going up. I could turn up the video from CNN, but we're going to just use the still right now. Police are starting to form in various forms around various positions around Columbia University. And you see in the picture to the right on the screen at a different part, Spectrum News has that video. Police are starting to breach the buildings where the protesters have taken over early this morning, late yesterday. If you're not if you're not tuned in right now, not dialed in right now, the violence in the camps has turned into a lot of vigils and a lot of issues for people around the things. I'm saying violence in a way where people have been using anti-Semitism in the camps and have some calls from basically the pushing and shoving, going a bit overly aggressive into things. So over the past couple of days, police have been called in to sort of break things up and break up the encampments. They've been in serious breaking up since late yesterday and all day today. But Columbia is essentially this school has decided they're going all in, they're going hard for this one, and they overtook a building, a couple buildings, I believe. They barricaded all day, and now in the evening time of or nighttime for New York City, New York PD is now in the area. They are there watching and doing what they can do, and right now they're about to breach the areas to, is what you think, forcefully remove some of these protesters. I saw some commentary earlier today, actually from Bakari Sellers, who's doing an interview with Tim Miller with the Bulwark, talking about his book and talking about how his father was a civil rights activist, civil rights organizer back in the day, and said in conversation with his father, he's saying his father's looking at this time in history and saying this is 1950s all over again. This is what's happening. Now, you may not believe that the actual causes being fought are the same, but the issues are there. Protests in big gatherings on college campuses where the people who are gathering believe they are right and the people who don't want them gathering wish they would go away. That's what we're getting a lot from the vibes we have here on what's going on. We won't be on this very long. Essentially, this was a chance to get something out here today. So I had something in for this 30th of April and something to prep for tomorrow for things you might have heard. I'm not sure exactly what stories are in the queue other than earlier on where the students basically barricaded themselves in. There'll probably be something that we'll lead with and just sort of expound on as it goes. I'm not sure what the headlines will be updated, how things will go, because I am not a night owl. I'll be knocking off fairly soon, but I'll be keeping an eye on this thing for a little bit to see what's going on. So for the last 15 minutes or so, I've not seen what's happening because I've been prepping to do a quick live here. It takes time to prep for lives, oddly enough. What are your opinions on what's happening? You'll get a chance to see this video overnight. It will show up as a live and as a real video in the morning. Chance to see this video and respond as these news nerds do with your comments on this one. To be honest, my thoughts and opinions on this one, and this is my total opinion. I try to give you the topic and let you conversate and go back and forth with that one. This is a deal where all along I've been thinking Kent State. I've been thinking on civil rights movements of water cannons and dogs. I've been thinking at some point in time, please come in and bust heads. That's what happens to break up protests because they're never broken up organically. You either win or you lose. And when the group that's protesting doesn't get their way, the way of the people who are not want to be protested on, not exactly grammatically correct, this is what happens. So right now, when I get off in about 5 minutes or so, we will see what the current state of the university is. And this is not something that's actually just unique with Columbia. Other universities are having various issues as police are coming in, security forces coming in, people coming to break up encampments, break up the protests as people protesting are foaming human shields and doing what they can to not get out of the way. The sad part of this thing right now is this very moment at all these schools is either the wrap up of finals or the quiet period. Some places have a place where they give you a week to study, and that's what's going on at Columbia. I believe Columbia's last day of their quiet period was today, and the first day of finals is tomorrow, I believe, on their schedule. Most of these places would have a very dull and very non-life, not lack of life going on campus as people are prepping for their exams, prepping for finals, and prepping for graduations, which will be coming up basically in a week. And most of the places that are being occupied are places that are very big to graduation ceremonies, which is why they pick those places because of what's going on. So give me some comments. If you're watching it live or watching the replay in the comments there's live, I'll have to go back and check out the live replays because it's there. But if you're also going to see this thing in an actual replay or actual just regular replay, I should have turned off comments for this one to make it easier to comment. Give me your comments on this one below. We will be talking about this for days because even when it's over, trust me, this is a story that's never really over. But right now, not so much breaking news. It's going on for hours, if not days, where they've been breaking up the protests by police forces. The big news on this one is Columbia said after some forces came in on Saturday or Sunday, to break up some pieces and did not go off so well. Wasn't, complete bedlam, but they did not respond, that being the protesters, very well to the action, as one would expect being protesters. Columbia said they were not called back New York City police again. And yesterday, Mayor Eric Adams says that's not exactly true. There are some caveats where New York City police officers will go into the deal with this, and they just have to ask. They were at the disposal of Columbia University. Columbia University has asked for them today, and it seems like it's very needed what's going on. All day long, unless you lived on campus or essential personnel, you could not get on campus, and it was like Attica lockdown, getting in and out of campus. Tonight, the protests are apparently going to end at Columbia University one way or another. We hope this ends on a fairly peaceful manner, but we also remember how the protests that happened at the Capitol on January 6th happened and how a peaceful picnic walk in the park was not. And for people who claim it is, well, we're just going to pray for you, if you will. So tell me what you think about what's going on right now. Tell me how you think this is going to happen. And if you're seeing this a little later, it is about 8:45 Central Time as I'm going to wrap this thing up here, about 8-10 minutes of actual commentary, just to basically have a video out there. Tomorrow morning, we will have things you might not have heard as normal, with caveat being we're going to have at least one story, one headline focusing on this one. We have a couple things posted in there. We'll see if they converge into one big topic or if they're going to be separate topics. My guess is it'll be the first topic we open up with and probably the most engaged topic, no matter how it comes out to be. Plus other stories that happened throughout the day. A lot of things happened on this Tuesday and some lighter things to hopefully bring down the tone from what's going to happen over tonight. We will continue to talk about this and post on this and update you on this one and conversate on this one in various ways. We'll probably do some quick hits or cut it just short on this one again in the morning once you know some of the aftermath of what's going on, so we have more details to talk about. Right now, I just have the stills here from 9:24, from about 20 minutes ago, that I clipped before I began prepping for this thing here. It's amazing how I went through most of the younger part of my years and how in my adult life, we're seeing the replays of things that happened for my parents. My parents lived through the 60s. My parents lived through civil rights movement area and segregated schools and things that made no sense, and protests and marches. And come the 2020s, if you will, we're back to protesting and marching. It might be Black Lives Matter. It might be Palestine and Gaza. It might be Ukraine and Russia. Whatever it is, we're marching in the streets. We're protesting on schools. Police are about to, say, lack of better words, crack some heads to bring people down on things like this. They're not the same. They might be similar veins of thought, but they're not the same. They're different ideas, different ideals, and different times and different eras, and definitely different generations with how they're facing things and what's going on. This is not a who's right, who's wrong thing. This is a reality thing. I, for one, am not down with how the protests went, but what happens with these things is, as they have noted, once you bring in outside agitators, which is these were basically organic things that turned into outside agitators, people who wanted to get in on the game and use this as cover, it became a thing. Sure, they used that as an excuse for things like January 6th and saying that the Black Lives Matter protests are actually just Antifa jumping in to act up. This is a case where it actually are people who want to be more radical in their fight for liberating Palestine or fighting against Israel. Two different fights, actually, and coming in with what were essentially kids doing their thing, being young, wanting to be a part of the movement, be a part of the difference. And we're going to find out how much a part of the difference it actually will be very soon. I'm Jay Cleveland Payne. You're seeing the if you're watching the video, you're seeing the crawl and things you might have heard. That is the morning news update show we have on the Conversation Project's media platforms, YouTube and Facebook, and on uh, X, formerly Twitter as well. We'll have a full headlines, a full news report in the morning. It kicks off at about 5:50 a.m. with 8 stories from top stories that we picked, the top stories from today. We'll pick 8 of those stories, present them to you in a news brief that will include something on this one, because there's no way one of our stories, if not 2 or 3 of them, will be in the top in the range for tomorrow. I think everybody who popped in with a response is going to be live. Anyone who pops in a response in the future, let me know who you are, where you're from, and so how you're listening, how you're watching. And of course, stop by our website. This is a conversationproject.com so that you can see more about us. We're not going to do any advertisements, not do any promotions, other than go to the website and find out more about what we do in presenting to you news stories and ways to chat about them every single day, 24/7. The only thing I will say is, of course, the feeds on Facebook and Twitter. Facebook.com/this is a conversation project, and Twitter.com/X or X.com/th_conversation. Every 50 minutes or so, we post news articles from various sources to get your engagement on it. The more you engage in it, the more you literally click like or the little mean face on it, the more chance we have to talk about it the next day. We'll pick 8 stories from top 15 stories for this Tuesday to present for you on Wednesday morning. We had issues for Tuesday morning, so we did not produce any videos. We're going to produce something tomorrow morning, guaranteed. As I say, wrapping up everything, stay limber, stay hydrated, stay on task for all the grand things you're here to do. I mean that because you are extremely important. We need the eyeballs to keep things going. This is a labor that needs to be loved, but other people need your love and support. And I'm going to tell you right now, I love you. I love each and every one of you for being here, being a part of your community, doing what you can. Comment on what we can do better by going to our website, this is conversationproject.com, or emailing us at theconversationinbox@gmail.com. Reply in the comments to let me know what you think about this thing here. And if you're a news junkie, which I'm assuming you are, if you're tied up to us, keep an eye on this for a couple hours. We'll see how this thing plays out. I'll be up a little longer than I plan on being, so I can keep an eye on what's going on, so prepare for tomorrow. And definitely get up early to see how things are going. Thank you so much for spending your time with us with the Conversation Project. I am Jay Cleveland Payne. We're going to see you. Well, this is going to be in perpetuity forever, but at least if you're watching me live, we'll see you in the morning, or we'll see you later.